everyone, and welcome back to that show. It's the Unnamed Sports Show, the real Unnamed Sports Show. And first off, to those who are watching, hopefully you got our social media posts. We're moving to today instead of Wednesday. Wednesday is Valentine's Day. Two of the three of us have people that we like to spend Valentine's Day with, and the third person is still looking for that special someone. So if this show is intriguing to you and you find Jason attractive, don't uh, don't forget to DM. But anyway, how you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Doing good, man. Doing good. I could be better. I could be better. Just say
Definitely
that.
could be better.
I think all of us could be a little better. We'll get into why that is. Before we get started here, though, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on our social media at Unnamed Sports S, and like and leave us a comment or review wherever you listen to your podcast. So we appreciate all the support. And fellas, let's jump right in. Football season is officially over. The Super Bowl 58, occurred yesterday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Overall, it was a one of the best Super Bowls I think I've seen in a long time. I feel like the last a few Super Bowls have all been really tight, really close contested games. This is the second time ever in NFL history a Super Bowl went to overtime, which is pretty incredible. We'll start with probably the most depressed person in here. Jerry, what did you make of the Super Bowl 58 and the Kansas City Chiefs securing yet another Super Bowl trophy?
Yeah, I would be. I'm not gonna lie. I would be more depressed, but I did make a little bit of money off of the Chiefs, so that helped to ease the pain a little bit.
Me too.
However, Patrick Mahomes secures his third title since he's come in the league. He's never missed an AFC Championship game. He's now got 3 Super Bowls under his belt. He is chasing Tom Brady at a fast pace to become the GOAT. And boy, did he show up last night and absolutely light it up, especially in the second half. They were a little lackluster to start the game, but by the time the second half came around, man, they were just firing on all cylinders. The 49ers completely abandoned every part of their defensive game plan that they had. By the end of the game, I know they were trying to not let the big play happen, not let the Chiefs score a touchdown, but they're playing 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. They're having 6 guys off the line of scrimmage by 6 yards. That's the Chiefs' bread and butter, man. You're going to get Kelsey on dig routes. You're going to get Rashee Rice in the flat. They have not been the big play team all year long, and the 49ers gave them exactly what they wanted in the second half, and Patrick Mahomes was able to exploit it. He threw for over 300 and had 2 passing touchdowns. He looked incredible, and yeah, I'm sad, but it could be worse.
It could be worse, yes. I also, while was rooting for and on this show, put that I thought the Chiefs or the 49ers were going to win. I did put money on the Chiefs because I thought that all the combined curse of us losing money and betting would yield the 49ers a victory. It did not. Before I jump over to you, Jason, real quick, we want to thank everybody that gave us your score predictions for the game. Just to read them off here, Jason had 28-24 Niners. Jerry had 24-21 Chiefs. I had 31-28 Niners. Jacob Vanscoy had 34-20 Chiefs. Taylor had Chiefs 49ers 20, Chiefs 10. Trayvon had Chiefs 34, 49ers 27, and Kathy, I think is that my mom or is that somebody
Yes.
else?
That's
She
your mom.
commented.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. She had Niners 28, Chiefs 24. Jerry, you are the big winner.
Yay.
You win absolutely
Congratulations.
nothing.
Yeah.
You win bragging rights on the show, I suppose.
Great.
So good work. But thanks everyone again for commenting your scores. Well, we love that. We're happy to kind of play along there, and what a great Super Bowl. Jason, flipping over to you. What did you see in the Super Bowl? Give us kind of your analysis of what happened.
The 49ers dominated that game up until the fourth quarter, I would say. Um, they did exactly what the Ravens should have did, and they ran the ball, and gave the ball to their best players. Christian McCaffrey had a very good first quarter, even though I think at halftime he only had 33 yards rushing, but he had about 50 yards receiving almost. Um, and they went away from that. They went away from what was winning them the game. I'm not. I think the biggest issue with a lot of head coaches is they want the offensive play calling duties, and that seems to bite a lot of them when it comes to big games and big time moments because they forget about what's the most important thing. But I don't know. The Chiefs had no business winning this game. I mean, I guess we've been saying that they had no business going to the Super Bowl, but they keep finding a way. Kudos to Patrick Mahomes. They were able to get the ball to Travis Kelce in the second half a lot more, and they were able to move the ball, like Jerry said. Biggest thing, I don't know with defensive coordinators, what their thought process is at the end of the game. What works for you throughout the whole game, you go away from that and you back up 10 yards off the field. Scared money don't make money, ever. Never, ever, ever. You're playing scared, you're not trying to get beat. They don't have the best receivers to beat you deep, but you're still letting them get those quick plays off. A lot of rub routes you saw at the end of the game, a lot of pick routes, and they were able to get the ball down the field and getting into overtime. Overtime, you just start to see the 49ers run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And they're driving down the field. They just could not get in the end zone. And I mean, that's unfortunate. Maybe you think about playing defense at the start of the overtime next year, or if you make it again. But I don't know. It's just so close to seeing the Chiefs finally lose. And I'm just like, I keep saying it. I'm tired of this granddad. I'm tired.
That's too dang bad. No, I 100% agree with everything that you say, and it's funny. Before a lot of these big football games, a friend and I text each other, and we always send each other the cliche stuff that announcers say, like, whoever wants it more is gonna go. Whoever can make a play at the right moment. All this. I mean, it's silly in the sense that, yeah, like, obviously, and obviously the point the announcers are making is like, whoever can step up and live in the moment, be in the moment. But it's just funny to be like, yeah, whoever can win the game will win the game, basically.
Yeah.
uh, but he texted me before the game. He's like, I think this one's going to come down to special teams. And funny enough, it really was special teams that won Kansas City this game. They blocked an extra point, which kept it a 3-point game, which allowed them to drive down the field and kick a field goal to send it into overtime instead of having to basically score a touchdown or lose. And then you had the punt return that bounced off the 49ers player's foot that was recovered by the Chiefs. That right there is the difference in your ball game. If either of those break differently for the Niners, they could have potentially still lost two. The Chiefs could have thrown a touchdown to end the game, but your likelihood of victory, your chance of success is much much higher. And so it was it was funny enough, it did come down to special teams. Um,
Yeah,
Overall for the game, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because they scored on the play directly after that punt return, correct?
The very next play.
Yeah.
After the fumble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally the next play, shot at the end zone, touchdown.
Which is what you always should do in quick changes
Yes.
of possession. So
1000%.
Yep.
No, what I was gonna kind of add on to what you guys were saying. I felt, and we all watched this game together over at Jerry's mom's house. Shout out Brandy,
thanks
and
for the
Brandy and
boo.
Taylor for hosting us at your guys' house,
Great ribs.
which is
Great
where
ribs.
Jerry is
All
right
the
now.
fun.
But I was saying, and kind of as Jason really alluded to, like even when the Chiefs took the lead, the whole time I was just like, the Niners feel like they're playing with more energy. They feel like they're playing a a better style of football, but the Chiefs just kind of hung around. They turned some touchdown drives into field goals. They made their field goals. They kept, everything close, a couple big special teams plays, and now it's in overtime, and you know, balls in Patrick Mahomes' hand with a win it or go home style of game. He's going to go down and win the game. That's
Yep.
just who he is.
Yep.
That's just that's why he's the best in the league right now, and that's what we saw happen. So, congratulations, I guess, to the Kansas City Chiefs.
The
Again.
Golden State Chiefs.
First time since they'd be the Golden State Chiefs if like they went out and got
Oh,
I don't know Devontae
All-Star,
Adams
yeah, All-Star receiver.
and yeah.
Don't see that one happening at all.
Yeah. Please. Please.
T. Higgins,
Nah,
Devontae Adams, Mike
nah.
Evans. Yeah, nah. Calvin
Diggs.
Ridley.
Stephon
No, definitely not.
Diggs.
Mike Evans would
Ridley.
much rather play with Baker Mayfield. Come on, guys.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to play
Let's
with the
be
best
real.
quarterback in the world?
Not me.
Yeah,
Not
because he
me.
definitely hasn't had that in his life and won a Super Bowl with the best quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. He already
Yeah.
has that. He doesn't need that. He didn't need that.
He already did once. Who wants to do it twice?
Yeah. Stay. You want to stay in Tampa.
It's warmer there.
Moving forward, what let's project out in the next year. Now, mind you, the Chiefs have now won back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time in 20 years since Tom Brady and the Patriots did it all the way back in 2004, right? 2003, 2004. Sorry,
I
2004 to
think.
2005.
Yeah, I think that's right.
2003, 2004. Yeah. So
Mid 2000
first
somewhere.
back-to-back Super Bowl since the mid 2000s with Tom Brady and the Patriots. An incredible feat, and this is the new dynasty. This is, everyone said it won't be replicated what Belichick and Brady did. Well, it's happening again. All right in front of our very eyes. Um, but moving forward, kind of each team, Jason, I'll start with you. Like, what do you see out of the 49ers over the next couple years? Do you think, is Brock Purdy the future there, or is he kind of just good enough to win a bunch of games in the regular season, but not good enough to maybe win a Super Bowl?
No, he's definitely good enough. I mean, I think he's only going to get better. But this upcoming year is the last year that his contract he can sign an extension or whatever they need, or re-sign him, right? So,
It
uh,
is.
this upcoming year, 2024.
Mhm.
This is his third. He's coming up on his third
Sorry,
year.
his
So
next year.
he's got
Sorry,
2 more years, right?
the next year he can't sign an extension this offseason.
Yeah.
Next year he can sign an extension. The year after his contract's up.
Yeah.
They have to win this next year, and the rest of the team isn't cheap either. So Chase Young is not going to be probably on that team next year, from my assumption and how their money is spread out already thin. So they're probably not going to have as good of a team. So they need Brock Purdy to take a step forward. So it really comes up to him. I think other than they just need a couple more pieces on their offensive line. So it's a good offensive line draft class this year. They'll be able to get some picks, some good starters will be available later in the draft. They don't need receivers. They don't need tight ends. They need to just shore up the offensive line. Yeah, that helps Brock Purdy a little bit more. And then you you go out and hopefully you start making a little better play calls here and there in the playoffs, and you win in the Super Bowl, because I mean that's their only hope.
I really feel like Brock Purdy, personally, I think that he did about all he could. He missed maybe 2 or 3 passes that game, but for the most part, the plays that he didn't make, he was under duress. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't even, I mean, outside of maybe the first play of overtime, to my recollection, did not really have any turnover worthy throws,
Mhm.
and he still threw for 255 and a touchdown. And I just, in a game like that, against one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's just one of those weird games where I felt like Brock Purdy did pretty much everything he should do, and
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey had 160 all-purpose yards, and 2 touchdowns, or I'm sorry, 1 touchdown. Did all he could do. Their defense for 3.5 quarters did about all they could do. It's just it.
Yeah.
It
No,
just
Just
to
a
it just
weird
fell
game.
apart. It
me,
was odd.
Yeah.
it's play calling. It was 100% play calling,
What,
and
what, do- what do you mean by play calling? And
the
what
change
regard?
after halftime, after adjustments were made, they started changing on how they were focusing their offense. It should have been run, 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 like they were doing the whole first half, and then throw if you have to. If not, kick the ball. Right? You lose time for Patrick Mahomes to have the ball. You're just putting the ball in your best player's hand. You don't even have to worry about pressure. You just run block. It was working so well for them. I don't know why they went away from it. But again, maybe that's something that he focuses on next year. Like Ryan Day gives up the play calling, maybe he needs to give up the play calling. Don't get me wrong, Kyle Shanahan's offense should be the offense that is ran, but just having someone that you trust to be able to call plays, it takes a lot off of his hands and focuses more on the stuff that the little things that matter. Like maybe your players know that the off season rules instead of being confused on, or sorry, the Super Bowl rules and how that works in overtime. Um, a lot of less penalties are usually called when when the head coach is only doing head coach duties because he can focus on the little things. So there was also that was probably the second thing I was getting into. Penalties bit them in the foot so many times. They were driving well, and maybe that's why they weren't running as much because second and 20, second and 15,
Yep.
Mhm.
it's not as easy to run. So
Uncharacteristic of their team too. Normally a very
yeah,
disciplined.
I mean it
Specifically,
was the
Trent
most Trent
Williams.
Williams. Yeah,
Like he never does. He had I think back-to-back plays. He had a hold and then a false
yeah.
start.
It was the
Mhm.
second
Just
drive.
yeah,
Yeah.
just doesn't happen.
After a Christian McCaffrey fumble on the first drive, which also never happens, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, no, defenses were playing out of their minds yesterday.
Yeah.
Like that was a great defensive game.
Yeah, it is interesting. Don't get me wrong. I don't know why. And I said this to Jerry. Jerry is sitting next to me. I said this to him. I don't know why they didn't elect to get the ball second in overtime.
Mhm.
But if you look at that entire game, and anybody that wants to, I'm not saying that there couldn't have been better play calling decisions made. I'm not saying that at all. But there's been a lot of hate on social media for Kyle Shanahan for the overtime or for whatever. It's like, okay, but he also his second, a top 3 to top 4 defensive player blew his Achilles.
Yeah.
Third series in, second or third series in. His gunner accidentally kicked the ball that fumbled it right back to the Chiefs. His kicker's kick was blocked. And you have to accept all of that responsibility as the head coach. I'm not suggesting otherwise, but let's realize that when the moment was biggest, a couple players got hurt and players made mistakes that are uncharacteristic. And at the end of the day, it's like just because you didn't get the ball or take the ball first, like there's so many other times in that game that Kyle or a number of other players or coaches on that staff could have made a difference. So I just
Agreed.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just have seen everything about this overtime, and I'm like, all right. But there's several other points in the game.
It doesn't. Also, in
Agreed.
overtime, it doesn't matter whether you get the ball first or not. You know what you have to do on offense.
Yeah.
In today's NFL and overtime, you have to score a touchdown. On defense, obviously you got to get a stop. They had him at 4th and 1. Patrick Mahomes ran a great RPO with Pacheco and Kelsey and ended up getting the first down. Like they had the chance to get the stop. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
So, do
Yeah.
you think in general head coaches shouldn't be calling plays, Jason?
I'm starting to fall into that line.
Let's
Again, I think
just
the two coaches that are currently in that game were probably the only two that I think that should have it. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot. Like being a head coach, just head coach responsibilities is a lot, and then you separate the offensive coordinator duties. That's also a lot. So if you put all that together, I mean, there's just so much you have to be focused on, and it Kyle Shanahan is the best offensive mind in the NFL. But look at who he's groomed too. You know, like look at the other coaches that come up from that same offense. You have someone in that system and on your team that can focus solely on calling plays. Your plays, like it needs to be his mindset. Just put it in someone else so you can focus on the bigger things and the little things that you're not seeing when you're calling plays because you're trying to focus on the defense and you're trying to outpredict. Like it's a chess game. It's a really a chess game being an offensive coordinator. Like you have to expect what they expect from you and try to counter that and then have another counter for that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a lot that comes into it and I don't think a head coach should have to focus all on that, especially when he just has so many proven talents under him. Like there has to be someone there that can be able to think like him and be able to call the plays and not have to focus about all the head coaching responsibilities at the same time.
see. Jerry, same question to you.
You're talking about if head coaches should call plays or not?
Are you listening to our conversation?
Yeah, I
Or you
am.
hanging
I
out over
am.
there?
Well, you also asked like, what do the Niners need to do moving forward? I didn't know if we were going back to that or whatever. If head coaches should be calling plays, I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat as Jason. Like Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan are probably the two only guys in the NFL that should be doing it, and I'm gonna say anybody else probably not. Like it's too much. It's too much on the head coach. He needs somebody to take that delegation and take control of that. Um, in years past, it just hasn't worked out. Most of the time, um, I wouldn't say all the time, but most of the time, just hasn't worked out if head coaches are calling plays. Like it just at some point in the game, it just falters, right? Especially in big games, like we just saw it with Kyle Shanahan, one of the guys that should be doing it. Like it just wasn't there at the end of the game. I don't know if they lose steam, lose a mindset of the game of how the game state is. Um, it just doesn't work out most of the time.
So your opinion is if somebody else had been calling Kyle Shanahan's plays, the Niners win last night?
Yes, they win in the fourth quarter.
I don't. I'm not gonna say yes because you can't count out Mahomes. I mean, the game could have gone differently, but it would have gave Kyle Shanahan more headspace to understand the game state and be able to manage the game better from a head coach standpoint.
Yeah, I'm gonna just I disagree. Um, if you can do it, I think, and that's again, a lot of these guys have been hired because of their offensive prowess. I'm not saying that everyone should do it or that everyone has the capacity to do it, but Andy Reid's won 3 Super Bowls. Uh, he calls his own plays. I mean, that's pretty. That's I don't know. Proof's kind of in the pudding there, I think. And in all honesty, you watch. I mean, my the head coach of my team calls plays, Kevin Stefanski, and they won 11 games this year. And they actually have some consistency now in who's calling the plays and how a script is developed and how a play calling happens throughout the game. Does he make mistakes? 100%. Absolutely. And so there are times where he drives me literally insane because he won't run the ball or he tries to get too tricky. But in the same breath, I think the person that understands the offense the most is the guy that makes the offense. And I think that person should be calling the plays for that offense, unless you do have like the guy that you trust and can make those calls that will when you the problem with that though is then you start to lose any consistency you have on your offensive not design and scheme but in your uh, style, in the style within your scheme. When you call what plays are being called, at what time. And now every year, because assuming your offense is good, otherwise you wouldn't maintain your head coaching status. Your OCs will get plucked if they're the ones calling the plays. So I think if you want some continuity in both the staff you have as well as the style in which you play, I don't see a problem with it. Again, that with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Counter argument to what you just said. No matter if they're calling plays or not, if they have a good offense, that offensive coordinator is going to get plucked.
That's true. I don't disagree. Um,
So to add,
but but the not necessarily. Actually, I will bulk on that a little bit. Eric Bieniemy had to go be an OC somewhere else just to start getting uh, head coaching um, buzz and potential ability. And then we saw when he was not under Andy Reid anymore, he was not nearly as successful. So I think there is. I think if you have an OC who's good, they'll get plucked, and if you have
uh,
an OC who's not good, they won't.
I feel like Bienemy was calling plays though. Was he not when he was with the
For the
Chiefs?
Chiefs, no.
No.
Okay, I thought he was. I could be wrong. I knew Matt Nagy wasn't, but I thought Bienemy was.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So that's my. But I understand both sides, and I just got a text from my girlfriend. She wants to know what is a head coach supposed to do if not call plays. So I think to explain that the head coach is kind of like, and you guys feel free to jump in and for those that don't know that are listening that are like, yeah, all head coaches call plays. It's actually, I don't know, would you say 50-50 in the league? What would you
Yeah,
say?
it
Yeah.
depends. It depends on what style of head coach you have, first of all. So most offensive-minded coaches would like to be their play caller for the most part, at least when they're starting out their offense or starting out for a team. Um, but there's a lot of defensive-minded head coaches now in the league, so they hire the offensive coordinator to call the offense and be the head coach for their offense, quote unquote.
But even your defensive coaches, some call their defensive plays and some don't.
Correct.
Correct. So to answer the question, the difference is if you have a head coach who is the type to call plays, they will work in junction with the side of the ball that they most align with. So let's say they worked in offense, they are an offensive coordinator, they're an offensive minded head coach. The offensive coordinator and the head coach work together to develop a scheme, and either the offensive coordinator or the head coach will call the plays. Let's say the head coach calls the plays. So that's what he does. But he also is the head coach. So he's watching the defense. He is paying attention to personnel that's in the game. He's watching the refs. He's paying attention to when to call timeouts, clock management, when to challenge the play, figuring out how to best approach players on both sides of the ball to make sure that they are doing what they need to do, seeing what they're seeing, understanding what the game plan is as a whole on both the offense and the defense, right? So the head coach has all of these added responsibilities on top of their positionally. And when I say position, I mean like offense or defense, uh, calling the plays. If you have a head coach that doesn't call the plays, they rely on their offense and defensive coordinators to call the plays in, and then they can kind of sit back in that managerial role of everything else that I was mentioning and have a very sharp eye on all of that stuff and be able to like Jason was talking about earlier, take care of the little things, make sure clock management is as good as it can be, make sure that you're challenging on the right plays, have a thumb on the pulse of the entire game, and be able to manage the entire game from that head coaching spot. So that would be the difference. Is there anything I missed in there, fellas?
I think you said something about practice, the right developing practice.
I didn't say anything about that.
So I would just say like it would help for my way of thinking for how a head coach, if a head coach does not have the play calling abilities, it helps with everything before the game as well. So developing, scouting, you're scouting the other team, developing practice ideas and managing practice because the best way to play is to practice, right? So you hear this saying since 2000, since you were born, right? Practice like you play. So if you are able to instead of because a offensive mind, let's say in this case, an offensive minded head coach is going to more focus on their offensive practice, whereas the head coach can, without that play calling ability, can back off and see both sides. So like you were saying, position wise, they can see the whole. They're able to see the whole picture. I think when you start becoming stuck on one side of the ball, unless like we were speaking, unless you have someone that you trust on the opposite side completely, which for the most part you probably do. But again, instead of having to put more of your energy on just one side, you can put all your energy on both sides. So not only does that help both coordinators, I think that because if you're a head coach and you're looking like, okay, he's doing this, he's doing this, what can he do better? What can this coordinator do better? That's just gonna help him be better, right? And yeah, you're always gonna be worried about someone getting plucked, but you can't be worried about that during the season, right?
Right.
It's going to happen, and that's why you're developing always someone else, right? You're always looking at your offensive coordinator, your quarterback coach. Can he be next in line? Like this is stuff that every coach has to think about. Especially like you look at Ryan Day, right? Brian Hartline is next in line for whatever he wants to be. Like he's developing him. And then you have we want to bring in an offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, to actually be that guy, and then Chip Kelly can teach Hartline how to do that. So when Chip Kelly is gone, Brian Hartline can step up and do that. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I just think the responsibility of calling plays should go to one person. Now the head coach, like in this case, Kyle Shanahan gives up his offensive coordinator duties, or sorry, offensive play calling duties to whoever. Kyle Shanahan should have the ultimate veto on anything, right? If it's the last play of the last game, and he's like, no, we're running this, perfect, do that. But you have to be real with yourself. Like, if that play works, if that play doesn't work, what happens after the game? It's going to fall on the head coach. So there's a lot of pressure being a head coach. But I mean, I think you need to be more focused on the overall aspect of the full team, the full picture, instead of just one duty. And that duty is really the offensive, the play calling duty is it's probably the most important as a coach during games. During games.
Yep.
Yep.
Sorry,
I
Good job, boys.
concur.
tangent. I went off. Oh, we have a question also from
Oh,
Philip Shaw.
Hmm.
hey, that's Pauline's brother. What's up, Phil?
Why is this heart emote blocking what he said?
I
So
got it.
is Mahomes the
You
new
got it.
villain? What? Okay, what does it say of the NFL?
Is Mahomes the
And
new
yes,
villain of the NFL in y'all's opinion? Sorry. Yeah.
absolutely.
Great
Anyone?
question.
Go ahead.
No, I was just I was just say you could go ahead and you can take that one. But great question, Phil. And yes, I would say me personally, I think all three of us can answer this question independently. What I would say is yes, anyone as like Tom Brady was, like many people throughout history who have continued success. At first, you're happy for him. Everyone wanted to see Andy Reid win his first Super Bowl. Everyone was happy when Patrick Mahomes, he's the next greatest thing. You know, it's like how people feel about C.J. Stroud right now. Everyone's happy for him. But you start to get success, and success breeds more success. And then people get tired of seeing you have that success and they don't want to see that anymore. So, yes, I would say Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey are the new villains. They're the new New England Patriots and Tom Brady's of the past in the NFL right now. Go ahead, Jerry. What do you think?
Look, this man has been my villain since 2018. All right, since this dude came in the league, everybody was like, "Oh, why do you hate Patrick Mahomes so much? He's so good. He's so good. He's gonna be the next Tom Brady." The fact that he's gonna be the next Tom Brady tells you that everybody should freaking hate this guy. He is a lot of bad words in my opinion, but yeah, I mean, for the simple fact of the media nonstop talks about him. Tony Romo's up there being in politically correct ways with him that I can't say on air.
Goodness gracious. People are very, very excited to talk about
Yes,
Mahomes, and they talk about him in a
yes,
way that is uh, way over the top.
yeah, and
There you go.
specifically Tony Romo does. I mean,
And
anytime he's
Chris Collinsworth.
calling, yeah, and Collinsworth, but anytime they're calling other games, they're talking, they're literally not even talking about the quarterback that's playing in the game. They are talking about what Patrick Mahomes would do in their scenario, in their shoes. And I think people are just seeing that and hearing it, and it's eating away at their tolerance for talking about Patrick Mahomes and and the fact that he's got 3 Super Bowls already. And the fact that the Chiefs weren't even supposed to be there this year. This was supposed to be their down year. Nobody expected them to get there. Everybody's like, how is he doing it? How can he keep getting away with it? Like, do we have to deal with this for the next 15 years? Are we going to see this guy in the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl year in year out? And it's the media, and it's so. I'm going on a tangent because I hate this guy, but it's so frustrating to deal with it day in and day out, year in after year. It's unreal. But got to give credit where credit's due. He's the best in the league, and when you're at the top of the throne, everybody wants to come and take it.
Thanks.
Jason, yeah, go ahead and
You said
elaborate on that.
you
Yeah.
said everything I was gonna say. Basically, people hate on success, and he's right now the most successful. So until that changes, we gonna keep hating.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think too, with this year specifically, you know, you add in the Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelsey, and personally, I believe that Taylor Swift and her relationship with Travis Kelsey too has been a net good for the NFL. It's been a good. It brings in more viewers, more people are watching, more people are paying attention, and you know, all the funny memes and all that stuff aside, I think that it's a great thing. But there's a lot of people that whose hate is amplified by the fact that Taylor Swift, you know, whether they like her music or they don't, every single time the Chiefs are playing, they cut to her every 12 seconds. Anytime Travis Kelsey catches the ball, they cut to her suite, you know, and I think, again, that adds a little bit of fuel to that fire of hatred for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, that whole thing. I will say this: I don't think anybody dislikes Andy Reid. I think there's
Nope.
everyone hates the everyone that hates the Chiefs, hates Patrick Mahomes, hates Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift. None of them are like, hey, I hate Andy Reid. Everyone loves him. So
Andy Reid's just a likable guy.
He's a
yeah,
he's a
Ever
teddy
since he
bear,
was with
bro.
the Eagles,
yeah,
man, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, a question that I posed maybe 20 minutes ago, and we went off into 70 different directions. Back to your point, Jerry, of me asking you a question and not being the original question that was asked. What do you see? We'll continue with the 49ers. Like what do you see for the next year, next couple years? Are they in trouble? Like what are your thoughts on that?
No, they're definitely not in trouble. I mean, sure, maybe 4 or 5 years from now, the team's obviously going to look a lot different. They have to pay all those guys. They're not going to be able to keep everybody. But I think when you take a look at what Brock Purdy has done since he came into the league, right? You're talking about a guy in his second year that got to the NFC Championship game last year and then got to the Super Bowl this year. I mean, we're talking about an inexperienced guy who is going to be in the league for 15 to 20 years because I think it's been proven that he is a good quarterback. He's an elite quarterback. He can play the game and he played a heck of a game yesterday. Played very well. When you look at a young guy like that, you know, yeah, you lost the Super Bowl, but the future looks very bright. They still have 2 years left until they have to pay him. They've got a lot of guys returning next year. I don't know exactly off the top of my head who they have to re-sign next year. Um, but man, if they can stay healthy, why can't they get back to this position? They've been doing it for 5 years now. I mean,
Since yeah, since
since
the
the last time
Chiefs
they
won
were in
their
the Super
first
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's to say that they won't be back in the Super Bowl next year? Who's to say that they're not going to make another trade deadline acquisition next year to get them over the hump like they did to Chase Young this year? Who's to say they're not going to add another piece to the offense that Brock Purdy can rely on, even though he's got so many weapons already? He doesn't need another piece.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy's an inexperienced quarterback who got you to a Super Bowl. He now has the mindset and the understanding of what it takes to win because he's seen it on the other side. He's gonna want that next year, and he's gonna come play with the vengeance. He's gonna try to take the throne from Patrick Mahomes, and why can't he do it? It's there's a lot of bright
Because he's
spots for
not
the
Patrick
40.
Mahomes.
Well, he's not, but when you got a team around you like that,
Yeah.
you can take the throne. Um, but yeah, I think the 49ers got a lot to look forward to, a lot of good things to look forward to coming up, and should be exciting for 49ers fans in the future.
I think so too. I think what's really cool is that I don't think they're in cap trouble for the next till they have to sign Brock Purdy. If I'm understanding correctly, like, they're pretty good on all of their uh, contracts until his rookie contract's up. So I think they're going to be good for as long as Kyle Shanahan's there, if I'm being honest. And you're talking about a team that it's funny when we started watching that game yesterday, it literally was, the graphics were showing, the players and how many players were on each
all
team.
pro.
And they
All
show
pro.
exactly, they show the Niners and it's all pro, all pro, all pro, all pro. You're like, yeah, that sounds about right. So they have a stacked roster. And, yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Switching to the other side, I think this one's pretty short for me personally. The Chiefs, they have a great future ahead. They didn't even have wide receivers this year. They won a Super Bowl. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid there, I don't think they're a contender every year, no matter what. Any from a division rival, Jerry. Do you think? I mean, what do you think? Do you think that as well, or do you think they might be able to? They might hit some hard times here soon.
No, I think they've shown that they can do it without the weapons, right? They had Kelsey, and Rasheed Rice really bloomed into a pretty good wide receiver this year. He made, maybe a Pro Bowl receiver in the future. But outside of those guys, they relied a lot on the run game with Pacheco, and they relied on their defense. So if they can replicate what they did this year without having to go out and pay top-notch dollar for a receiver or a running back, and rely on the defense, focus on what Patrick Mahomes can do at the quarterback position because he can do literally anything he needs to do. Um, they're going to be very, very dangerous for a long time. As long as Patrick Mahomes is on that team, you this year proved that you will never, ever, ever be able to count out the Kansas City Chiefs ever.
Jason, same question to you. Now, that question being, just so we're clear, what do you think of the Chiefs'
I knew what the question
future?
was.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening. I'm just also helping with the chat. But
No, I know. I'm just messing with Jerry.
Touche.
so Yeah, much like Jerry said, they have the opportunity to fix the only problem that they had this year. They didn't. They were maybe hoping to see more from other receivers other than Rasheed Rice, but you're not going to get that. And you don't want to be in the situation where you have to rely on your defense with Patrick Mahomes, right? So I think they focus on the identity, and that's good and all, but they're going to have to pay some of those guys as well. And they actually are a little tighter on cap than the 49ers are. So when you have Patrick Mahomes, that's okay, but that's when you would target the draft and get some of these rookie contracts cheap. And there are a lot of good wide receivers as well. So this is definitely a good time to focus on improving where you're weak at, and they need to get another receiver.
Yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, when you have somebody, I mean, you talk about all the acquisition talent they need, and they do need some for sure. Absolutely, I don't disagree with that. But I think at the end of the day, you got Patrick Mahomes slinging it, and you got Andy Reid drawing up plays.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But
they
it
did. They
shouldn't
just won
it
it.
shouldn't be so hard, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't have to be so hard with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce
Yeah,
and Andy Reid.
yeah, 100%. What 100%? What? Go ahead.
Another thing is like Travis Kelce is only getting older, so the more you can take off of his plate, the better it's going to be. Like if you can't double team Travis Kelce, then what are you going to do?
Right.
I don't know.
Another
Go to Mecole Hardman to win the game.
okay, but
Same play
like I
that they
said,
won the Super
in
Bowl
an,
with last year.
yeah, it's, they're going to figure that play out eventually, right?
No,
Are
no,
they?
I don't think so.
Eventually, right?
I don't think so.
And they literally have scored on that play in 3 games, 3 most important games in the last 2 years. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Not only that,
Someone's not watching
teams are
film.
teams copycatted that play. My
Yeah.
team, the Jags, against the Chargers last year. Like this, I know this play. Like it's like as soon as I saw him go in motion, I was like, this play again. He cuts it out. Like it's such a good play because you run a lot of motion, you run a lot of motion, you run him a lot of motion. They expect it to go over, and then all of a sudden he just sprints for the pylon. And
And it's
kudos,
Yeah.
kudos. It's such an easy concept to like draw up, but
Mm.
being the first person to do it, sometimes you just get all the love and credit because it's hey, no one else thought about it, but someone's
Speaking
gonna.
of copycat plays, the first touchdown of the night was a screenplay where they screen pass it to a receiver. He pretended like he was going to throw it deep, and then he screen passed it back across the field to Christian McCaffrey, who ran it for a touchdown. I've watched the Browns run that play 4 times, and we've never gotten more than 7 yards. The
And
first time the 49ers run it, it's a 20-yard touchdown. I was like, all right.
not only that, the people that were doing that play, Jarvis Landry and OBJ, both really good football.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
Like really good at throwing the football, but sometimes it's about the people other than the people that with the ball in their hands. And
I guess.
the 49ers have some of the best blockers outside of the offensive line position I've seen ever.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. I think that it was one of, I mean, you correct me if you guys wrong, but there was a little bit with the refs, I think, during the third quarter, but I felt overall it was a pretty fair game. I thought it was a extremely entertaining Super Bowl. What do you guys think of the commercials this year?
Bad.
Jay?
Bad. There's
Yeah,
like one or two good ones that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's all that really stood out to me.
I can only think of two that I really liked. I liked the Paramount one. That was sweet. And then the BMW Christopher Walken one, where everyone's like trying to talk to him, like how do an impression of him to him. I thought that was good, but outside of that, I was not impressed.
I
Yes,
I
Aaron.
must have missed
Aaron
that
just
one.
said plus Creed. Yes,
Yeah.
plus
Yeah,
Creed in that Paramount
yeah.
commercial.
That was so good.
Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. Like I feel like every year there's always a theme. If it's just not a bunch of funny ones back to back, there's usually a theme, right? Like a couple years ago it was I think pandemic stuff, and then 4 years ago it was like uh mental what
Mental
Mental
health.
health.
mental health. Thank you. Jeez.
Some mental.
Mental health mental health stuff. But there wasn't a theme and they weren't funny, so it was just like what are we doing?
I think you get the most broad appeal for funny commercials.
Oh yeah.
Me personally, I'm not a big fan of the preachy or the in your face stuff. Like just do some
Just
funny
be just
jokes
be dumb.
that are related to your ad. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Or related to your product. I wasn't all that impressed.
It seemed like
But
this year, like everybody's idea was to just get some superstar in their commercial, and that was
yeah,
it. That's what they
Yeah.
thought was gonna work. It seemed
yeah.
like,
No,
I mean, you had Chris Pratt. You said it, Christopher Walken. I mean, even the Paramount Plus commercial they had Patrick Stewart, because obviously he's in Star Trek. But like they,
Maybe that was maybe that was the thing. Celebrity.
yeah, I don't know. It seemed like every
yeah, or
commercial had a
Jason
superstar.
Momoa
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the guys from Scrubs.
and they
I
had one
mean,
like with Bradley Cooper auditioning for a commercial or something like that.
it
Yeah,
was that one was
Um,
like a bunch of stars. That was a bunch
yeah.
of
I
different
forget who that.
stars. It was
See, that shows you. I don't even remember who that ad was for. I don't remember who the commercial was
uh
for.
it was a phone company. T-Mobile?
Was it
no,
T-Mobile?
T-Mobile was the
Common and Jennifer Hudson one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
no
was the same one.
T-Mobile was yeah.
I thought
No,
so,
that
yeah.
wasn't T-Mobile. That wasn't T. Oh, it was T-Mobile.
Yeah.
T-Mobile had two then, because the Jason Momoa one was it? No, that was
Yeah, that was T-Mobile. Because
AT&T.
the guys from
That was
Scrubs do
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
T-Mobile. Yeah. So they had two. Yeah, that other T-Mobile one. That one was actually pretty good with all the celebrities, only because the guy did the scene from um what's that movie with Denzel?
King
King Kong,
Kong,
they
it
got
got on
me.
me.
Oh, what is that? Training
Oh,
Day. Training
Trinidad,
Day.
yeah.
Yeah. That that was pretty funny, I suppose. But yeah, overall not great. Speaking of something that was great though, the halftime show. I thought that was fantastic, honestly.
Yes,
I
I thought
agree.
it
sir.
was so
It
good.
was very
That
good.
was one of the best ones. And I was talking to uh a couple people before, and or actually is Pauline. She was talking about how she liked how they started on the field too, because you could like see the full scope of all of
Mhm.
his dancing, and I thought that was great. And then bring in Ludacris and Lil Jon and yeah,
Alicia
and Alicia
Yeah,
Keys.
Alicia
Keys.
Keys sounded great. She
Okay,
was.
her first let's her first key,
Yeah,
nervous key,
look,
in.
yeah, she got
The
it
rest
out.
of it though,
Yeah.
the way she looked though,
I won't comment on that part,
good.
but
Don't. She was
And
I
looking good
thought
in that red
Valentine's Day
dress.
is coming up. We can't say nothing.
I thought that the whole performance was fantastic. I thought it was one of the best Super Bowl performances I've seen, or at least that I remember in a long time. So I thought so. You get the good with the bad. Great game, great halftime show, terrible commercials. All in all, a pretty good Super Bowl experience.
Yeah. A lot of people were
Agreed.
saying they thought the Super Bowl was bad because it wasn't high scoring. There wasn't a lot of offense. It was just a good like football game. Like when you have a defensive game like that, it's awesome to watch for football fans like us who are liking to see defenses get stops like that. It was good. It was a good game. Very good game.
Absolutely, and it's yeah, and I don't want to. There was a lot of it was a lot of defensive football, but it wasn't like it was a lot of missed passes or
Hmm.
just poor execution. Every time Brock Purdy was looking to throw to Debo or Ayuk, man, somebody was just glued to
On
him.
his
Every
face.
every time Mahomes was dropping back,
McDuffie looked
yeah,
really good right or last night.
very good. Very
Yeah.
good. Every time Mahomes is dropping back to pass, Bosa and Young and that entire D line for San Francisco is in his face all night. The stuff in the run, Isaiah Pacheco got stuffed so many. I mean, it was a very, very solid defensive game, which is cool to see in a era of, especially the last few years have just been all offense. So
And
it's good to see good defense.
as the saying goes, defense wins championships.
Exactly.
That it does.
It sure does. Speaking of championships, I think now is the best time. We better write it down. Who's playing in the Super Bowl next year? Who's winning? And what's the final score? Let's put
Let's see
it
some
down right here.
let's
Jason,
see some
why don't you lead us
predictions in the
off?
chat.
Yeah, put some predictions in the chat too.
All right,
We'd
but
love to see it.
for my prediction, the Jacksonville I'm just
Oh my gosh.
while we will be in the AFC Championship, facing, dare I say it? Dare I say it, Ryan?
Yeah, say it.
The Cleveland Browns in the AFC Championship. The Cleveland Browns are going to return a top tier defense and are going to be more healthy with any sort of offense. Nick Chubb comes back, that offense is ridiculous. I do believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to shore up their offensive line next year, and favorite target for T. Higgins. We have a number 17 pick in the NFL draft. We will get Oregon's interior offensive lineman, center. I can't even pronounce his name. I'm not going to say it, but that man dominated the Senior Bowl. He's going to upgrade this offense 10 times fold. I'm tired of seeing my center at the hip of my quarterback after hike is said. All right? That's going to be fixed next year. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Browns in the AFC Championship. The Browns end up beating the Jacksonville Jaguars, unfortunately. To the NFC side, the Lions will repeat. It is going to be the same NFC Championship South game. 49ers, Lions. Lions win. Sorry, 49er fans. The Lions win. It will be the Browns versus the Lions in next year's Super Bowl because the Lions, not only are they a little bit more emotional, they have more stuff to feed on. And after a while, you're like, oh, we're doing good. But now they were this close. Now they can fight a little bit harder. They're going to get more defensive players to help out their team. That offense is going to be the best offense in the NFL next year. Lions versus Browns in the Super Bowl for 2025. You heard it here first. Or 20,
Score. Who
20
wins?
Browns win 20 24 to 21.
I like it. Jerry, on to you. Super Bowl predictions. You can give an NFC and AFC. You can give a whole playoff
I'm not.
prediction if you want,
No, I'm good.
but you can, or you can just pick the Super Bowl.
Oh.
No, I like it. I like it.
I like it too.
It got me amped. Got me feeling
Also,
good.
in the chat, Matt, the Ravens and the Chiefs cannot play in the Super Bowl against each other. Pick
Yeah, he's
somebody
talking
else.
about the AFC Championship. Ravens win. Ravens in
Yeah,
the Super
because I
Bowl.
went
That's
on that
what he
whole
meant.
tangent.
All right. Well, the initial question was
That's
Super
what he
Bowl, but I like that Jason gave his whole playoff prediction.
I
But
tried to have your back, Matt. You got to just say that was AFC Championship.
yeah.
Oh, okay. He said didn't know it was
Oh,
Super Bowl.
he was
Okay.
talking about that.
Yeah,
All right.
he was.
All right.
He was.
All right. They're getting back there again, folks. They're returning. They're gonna
You're
go for the
disgusting.
three-peat.
I
You're
will blow
disgusting.
my brains out.
You're
Hold on.
disgusting.
I don't know if we can say that, by the way, Jason.
Oh.
But yeah, no, they're getting back.
In game.
Yeah. Nice. Good save.
This is supposed to be like a 2-minute segment. This is taking like 20 minutes. What?
Chiefs. The
Super
Kansas
Bowl.
City Chiefs are returning to the Super Bowl to go for the three-peat. Now, I'm gonna throw a wild card out there. New coach, probably new quarterback, whole bunch of weapons.
Carolina Panthers. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the Carolina
Just
Panthers.
joking. Just joking. Just joking. Good.
No,
Sorry.
no, the Carolina Panthers.
No,
No, I'm
that's
just
not
kidding.
what
The
you said.
Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons. Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. NFC South, easiest division to win. They're gonna do what the Bucks did this year. They're gonna win a game, and then they almost had the Lions in the divisional round. Almost had them. Give me the Falcons. Out of nowhere, dark horse, real dark horse. They aren't on nobody's radar. Chiefs
No,
win.
yeah, they sure aren't.
Chiefs win and
But
three-peat.
Well,
Well, my AFC side, Matt says Lions Chiefs 24-21. There you go. I like it. I like it, Matt. My Jason's reaction to the Falcons. Yeah, that was absurd.
my brain
I'm pretty
actually
sure
went,
Jerry literally just went, "What's the craziest team I could say? Falcons."
No, the
Uh,
Panthers would have been the craziest.
Yeah, no,
Panthers.
that
If
for
it was
sure.
being real, yeah, it would have been the Panthers. But
Yeah. So what's funny is I actually already have the script for next year. So this is a little bit unfair of me to say, but here's what I got. So Jason, you were close on AFC Championship. That'll actually be the Browns and the Ravens meeting in the AFC Championship game. Browns are going to win that, obviously, go to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, we're going to have the Lions will make the NFC Championship game again, but they aren't going to win. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who will bring everyone back. Baker Mayfield's going to throw 35 touchdowns next year. It's going to be absurd. He's going to throw for 4,500 yards, and they're going to win 10 regular season games and make a strong push in the playoffs. And then it'll be Browns versus Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Browns are going to win 17-14 in a low scoring defensive battle. And you heard it here first.
I don't know what script you got, but that ain't it, dog.
and the true script,
Listen, you know how I
the
know it's the
Lions
script?
versus the Dolphins because the colors of the next Super Bowl. Tough.
Oh, Dolphins ain't making it. You
No.
know how I know it's the script? Because there's a big media push towards the Cleveland Browns right now. That's why we won four awards for the NFL honors. So the media loves the Browns. They want the Browns to be successful. And so they're going to do everything they can. We're still going to start getting all the PI calls. We're going to start getting all the QB hit calls, and we're going to just work our way into that Super Bowl game, and we're going to win.
See, the
And
media,
that's that.
they did this a couple years ago when Baker first got to the playoffs. The media loves the Browns as the Cinderella story to do well in the regular season, maybe win a playoff game. They're not going to let them get past that. They're gonna be like, whoa, hold your horses there, guys. Taylor Swift's not
listen.
rooting for the Browns.
Listen, it's true that Taylor Swift isn't rooting for the Browns, but you know who is? Adele. All right? Adele is a
Going
Browns
through the
fan,
deep.
and she is going to be at all the games next year. It's going to be the same sort of thing, except with Adele, who people don't hate like they hate Taylor Swift. Everyone loves Adele. So that's going to help. Media is going to jump on that. They love that. On top of, yes, people like the Browns to be the underdog story, and oftentimes when the Browns do well, a bunch of people are quick to jump onto the Browns bandwagon. We saw this when Baker Mayfield had a great rookie year. People jumped on for that second year when Odell came, and they were like, "Oh, let's go, Browns going to the Super Bowl." Yeah, well, Freddie Kitchens was our head coach, so. And then Kevin Stefanski gets hired as the head coach, and everyone says, "Who's this joker? We don't even know who he is. They are going to suck." We went 11 games, beat Pittsburgh in the first round of the playoffs. It was crazy. It was amazing. Baker has his second greatest season he's had to date.
Almost
Everyone
beat the
jumps
Chiefs
on the
too.
bill. We had him
Should have.
on the ropes, but we didn't, and that's that. And
Sorry, not Alex Smith.
Chad
what was that?
Henne.
Thank you, Chad
Uh,
Henne.
and then year after that, we come out, we play the Chiefs again, game one. People forget this. We had the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl that year, on the ropes that entire opening game of the season. And Baker Mayfield threw for over 300 yards in that game with 70% completion percentage. He was absolutely dominating that game. The only thing people remember from him that game was that he tripped on the last throw of the game because the D line broke through and made a good play, and he's trying to throw this ball out of bounds. And because he got tripped, it was picked off, and that's all. Oh, Baker can't seal the game. And you know what? He didn't that game, but he was playing great. Then they come out against the Texans. We're destroying the Texans, and he blows his shoulder out, ruins that entire season. He stays in the game. He shouldn't have stayed in. Stays in the game, has a bad season. Everyone's like, get this joker out of town. I'm telling you. And then, it's back to the Browns are going to suck. Well, we got Deshaun Watson. The Browns are going to suck. Oh, Deshaun Watson's injured. The Browns are going to suck. We win 11 games this year. We now, in a season, which, by the way, we had nobody healthy, we're getting everybody healthy back. Deshaun Watson's going to come out and he's going to at least play as good as a top 15 quarterback in the league. That's obviously not what you want for a $230 million quarterback. But with the defense we have and the weapons we have on offense and Nick Chubb coming back, watch out. That's all
I
say
hope so.
about
I
that.
like it. I want to see the Browns do well.
The Browns are going to win the Super Bowl next year.
We're the number one bet right now on FanDuel.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the Niners.
Browns are. It must be past a certain odds. It might be past a certain odd number. Because right now I think we're plus 5,000 odds or plus 3,000 odds or whatever to win the Super Bowl next year.
Oh, okay.
But
I see what you're saying. Sorry,
It's
I
like
yeah.
voted on the Browns.
yeah, I got you now. I thought you meant they were the odds-on favorite. I'm like, there's no way.
no.
Yeah,
They're not the odds-on favorite. They have the most whatever the
most money wagered on them or most bets placed on
something
them.
like
Yeah.
that. It's either most total bets or most money wagered on them, and it's because people are like, oh, if Kevin Stefanski can do that with 4 different quarterbacks, no starting tackles, no starting running back, and a myriad of injuries on defense throughout the season, I wonder what he can do if his team stays at least somewhat healthy.
Yeah, I'm locking them in now. I'm locking it in now
Oh yeah, good call.
before the odds get too good.
Good.
The
Yeah.
Bears have a better odds
yeah.
of making it to
The
Then who?
Bears.
than the Browns.
They're
Yeah, I
like
know.
plus 3,500, something like that right now.
Because the NFC, it's
plus 4,000.
It's crazy that they're plus 4,000 better odds than the Browns, and they don't even know what they're doing at quarterback next year. Like,
it's because they play in the NFC.
That makes
why.
sense. Actually.
It's 100% why. The AFC is just so stacked, especially at the mid to upper tier, that statistically the Browns would have to go through a lot more top tier teams in order to make it to the Super Bowl.
just even within their own division. Like,
yeah,
we're talking about a Bengals team that didn't have Joe Burrow for 3/4 of the season, and then you got Lamar and the Ravens coming back. Who knows what the Steelers are gonna do? But they're always in the thick of things. So
you're talking about a division that didn't have anybody finish below 500.
yeah,
Gross.
Like the Browns won 11 games and were the number 1 defense in the NFL and could have won 12 games if they would have actually played their starters and still had no shot at being the 1 seed. That's how tight. That's how good.
I didn't even win their division. I'm
sorry.
I
didn't mean to say. Yeah, I didn't mean to say 1 seed. I meant to say win the division. I apologize. Yeah. It didn't even have a shot at it. That's how good the division is. And then you look at the rest of the AFC. You got the AFC East, which is stacked. I mean, all levels except for the AFC South. Having said that, the AFC South has the most has the highest ceiling because how young all the good quarterbacks in that division are. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
why are you happy? I'd be so fired up.
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to be good because every team is bums. Like, maybe last year I wanted that because
I would
like sneak it in, but I want to be good this upcoming year because my team is just better. Like I want us to take another step forward. We took a step back. Let's take 2 steps forward actually next year.
Now, listen, if everybody else in the division finished below 500, I would not be mad. I would not care at all. So, but any more thoughts on the Super Bowl and football in general for this season? Wrap up thoughts on, this season and how we thought it went, Jason?
Texans making it as far as they did, probably the craziest story. Well, other than the Browns having
Yeah.
The,
one
the two.
significant get.
Those are the two biggest stories for sure.
Big stories. I think we'll see more wins from the Lions and consistent wins. I think they'll be a top team in the NFC for a while now. Do the Cowboys ever figure it out? Probably not.
Nope. They're bringing back McCarthy, dude. They still haven't figured it out.
The Bears should absolutely not draft Caleb Williams,
But they're going to.
but they're going to, and they might still keep Justin Fields. That is the dumbest
That
thing I've heard
yeah.
ever.
No, what they should do is trade him to the Falcons.
So
I
Jerry's prediction might actually.
No,
is that your
trade.
prediction, Jay?
No, I think they're going to well, they're either going to trade for Justin Fields or they're going to move into a like top 10 pick and get a quarterback. I think they already have a top 10 pick, don't they?
Yeah, they have the
Yeah.
number 10 pick.
That's not high enough to get a top 3 quarterback, but
No.
True.
Penix.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Penix, Bo Nix, either one of those guys is going to be better than Ritter or Taylor Heineke.
Or you take
Bo Nix is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. You heard it.
you give the Bears a second round pick for Justin Fields.
Oh,
As unfair maybe is that it? What?
I want the Broncos to do that.
Oh, the Broncos don't have a second round pick.
Give him our first. I don't care. Give them our first round pick. I will
Buddy,
take.
he's not going to the Broncos. I'm telling you. You guys are
No,
gonna have to.
we're gonna
ship
draft
off Russell
JJ
Wilson
McCarthy.
and-
We're gonna draft
yes,
JJ McCarthy.
you
And
are.
I,
Yes.
I said it a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. If we draft JJ McCarthy, I'm putting in an application for a new fan base. I'm changing
We're
teams.
welcoming. We're welcoming.
Not the
I'm
Browns.
telling you right
Sorry.
now. I'm telling you. What?
I can't do the Browns, man. I can't do it.
What is your problem, dude? What exactly is your issue? I can't believe you would even say that. Well, we don't want your fandom anyway. Go be a Jacksonville
No.
Jaguars fan.
I like my teams in the U.S.
Who would you pick, do you think? Texans?
Mm,
I
That'd
think
be
I
that's
don't
fun one to
everybody.
jump onto.
That's everyone's
That'd be a fun one
fallback.
to jump onto.
yeah.
I think that's everyone's fallback.
Or would you go to the
Texans
NFC?
I was thinking about that. Going to the NFC.
Be a Cowboys fan?
Oh yeah, jean shorts, Dak Prescott
Ultimate
jersey,
bandwagon.
Air Force Ones, baby. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I would never. No, not the Cowboys. I actually like growing up was a huge Falcons fan because of Michael Vick. I had his shoes, had all of his jerseys, and they're an exciting young team. It'd either be them, maybe the Lions. I don't know. A lot of good teams out there.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts on the season?
Good season. Great season. I mean, a historic season. A lot of records broken by Puka Nacua. I think there was a lot of good parity in the league this year that's going to make the next at least 5 or so seasons super exciting. There was never a clear favorite in any game really. At least like competitive games when they weren't playing the Panthers or somebody like that. But yeah, it's exciting to watch. I love football. I'm gonna miss it, but I'm excited to get to basketball and hockey season, and then less excited about baseball season. I'll say that.
All that parody just to watch the Chiefs win it again.
Yep.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I thought it was a fantastic season. I love that we got to start our own podcast in the middle of this football season, which has been really cool. And I'm excited to see what this show brings. We really appreciate all the support for the people that are watching, commenting, viewing our channel. We seriously, we're just a bunch of idiots that like to talk about sports, and the fact that even one person decides to tune in is pretty incredible. So we thank you for that. We know football has been the main draw of this show, and that'll change for the most part. We're going to talk about sports that are going on. There's obviously going to be trades, drafts, contracts for the NFL. Don't worry, Jason will have plenty on that to talk about. But the sort of the main focus of our show is definitely going to shift here over the next couple months, as Jerry alluded to: hockey, baseball, basketball, and branching out into these other sports. And so we
Ooh.
hope you stick along with us for the ride. Go
And we
ahead.
got the Olympics this year. That'll be exciting to cover.
Olympics, exactly.
True.
Olympics are coming up. We have even more things to talk about. So again, thanks everyone. We really appreciate you guys sticking with our show and tuning in. Any last thoughts on the episode, guys?
Nope.
Boo the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And that was the nicest way I
Boo.
could have said that.
I'm gonna do everything I can next year to take down Mahomes. I'm gonna
Exactly.
everything I can.
Well, we appreciate everyone's again continued support. I think I've said that 10 times. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on our social media at Unnamed Sports S. Don't forget to rate and review us wherever you find your podcast. Again, we really appreciate everyone, and we will see you next week. Next week it'll be on Wednesday, so we're going
Back
to
to
be
normal.
a week in a few days. But we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you.
Peace out.